Hey, it's me, NJB, and it's time for me to start this week's painting. My mother and I decided to do a second painting collab, and I said, why don't we do an abstract this time? And she said, yeah, and let's make it monochromatic. And I was like, okay, let's do it. And now I've waited until the last possible minute to begin this painting. And I just called her and talked to her. I was like, now, monochromatic, I know that's all the same color family. Like you can, if you're doing purple monochromatic painting, you can do purple, you can do lilac, you can do royal purple, you can do a blue purple, you can do a reddish purple. It's all got to be like different hues and shades of the same color family. But I'm like, if I don't have a purple paint, can I mix it? You know, is that okay? Mix red and blue to make purple. And she's like, oh yeah, that's fine. Basically, as long as what's on the canvas is purple. We can also mix in white and black, like to change the shade of the paint. So I've waited until the last possible minute. This has to be up at 8 a.m. tomorrow. It's 2:09 p.m. on Tuesday. So this has to be up by 8 a.m. my time. If you know me, you know I ain't a morning person. So basically I got to get this up tonight before I go to bed. And I need to start in a hurry because I never know when an audition is going to come in. So, you know, I might end up with 3 more auditions today, and then I got a problem. That's what it looks like right now. You see that blank space right there? That's what it looks like right now. I'm going to put this camera on the easel over here. I don't know what I'm going to paint. I have no idea. Just watch. You're going to see me figure it out in real time. Okay? So I'm going to turn on my little umbrella light over here. This is my umbrella light. And aim it toward this canvas. Put my camera on the tripod and get going. And we're going to see what it ends up like. I don't like being this disorganized and unprepared. It's making me nervous, but it's art. So wherever you end up is okay, right? Famous last words. Okay, we'll see. All right, here we go. I'm about to set up. Here's that same plain white canvas. I got a bunch of blue shades here, different brands. I was going to do purple, but I didn't have enough purple shades that I could use. And I still don't know what I'm painting. We'll see in a minute. All right, bye. Okay, I've been painting and listening to music, and I'm near the end of this. So I can tell you what I did. The first layer is covering the canvas. I talked about that in last week's painting collab that I like to do that. Some people do it with paint, like I'll do it with paint most of the time. Some people do it with gesso, but it's basically so that when you have your painting, you don't see like white bits of white canvas poking through. Like if I drew a design over here and painted it, and then I had a background over here, if I didn't cover the whole canvas at first, I would have my person over here, I'd have my background, and then it would be really hard to get really close to the outline of that person and get rid of all of that white around the edges. So that's why I cover the canvas. I use paint because it's cheaper than using up gesso for that. I decided to use the impasto method of painting for this. I did my underpainting, blended the dark into light, and then I used one of my palette knives. I have a bunch of them here. Hold on, I'm going to show you. We're just letting the paint dry so I can go in and put some finishing touches. But I have plastic ones, I have metal ones. Here, let me show you. See, I got all kinds of little thingamajigs. And I decided to use that instead of a brush. It allows for a looser, less precise, less exact type of painting because you scoop up the color and then you place it. Started here. I wanted it to slightly contrast with the background, get lighter. Now this was a surprise. This blue in the middle right here, right across here. I actually think that paint is old because the texture on it, and I don't know if you can see it right now, but I will take a picture and show you at the end. The texture on this is different. It's kind of a little bumpy looking. So I was surprised when that came out. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm doing a texture painting, so that works just fine. It gives it a little added extra interest. It's not smooth like the rest of them. Then I added this. And I didn't want to mix, so I had to be careful about where I strategically placed each glob of paint. That's the official word, is glob. And then here, I was going to use a darker paint. I was going to use this because this is, what color is this? Ultramarine blue. Because it's thicker than like this paint, this bright blue, and it's a little darker. But as you can see here, we're squeezing. And watch, it's going to prove me a lie since we're on camera right now. But squeeze, 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 it's dried up in the tube. So I couldn't use this thick paint. But I had a similar shade in a more watery paint. And I decided to allow it to drip down. Again, we're doing abstracts. So then, instead of painting, because I was going to go down here in like different shades, but since I did the drips, I didn't want to cover up the drips. So I took my darkest shade of blue that I have. It's PHTHALOCYNANINE blue. I took that shade of blue and I mixed it with something. What did I mix it with? Hold on, let me see what I mixed it with. Anyway, I mixed it with a different blue and then used my palette knife to go here. And I saw how this was dripping down into that color, and I was like, oh, okay, that's kind of interesting. So I added more so it would drip and not just be separate sections. I think I might add one more. See, that's how you mess up, is you keep adding stuff. I better leave it alone. I like how this kind of looks like. It might be letters. Again, I'll give you a close-up as soon as I'm done, and I'm almost done. It kind of looks like letters up here, but they're not really. Had I thought about it beforehand, I could have just spelled out my name, and that would have been dope, wouldn't it? Even though acrylic dries really fast, these thick areas here, they're going to take a little bit of time. So I don't want to do anything to disturb that. But I have this really cool color shift paint. It's called, the shade is called Blue Flash. And I'm going to use that just here and there to add like little interesting flashes with my little tiny brush here. It's my little brush. Here. I'll make like little curly cues here and there. I like abstract because you can, instead of being precise, and because when I was in class, it was about precision. It was about copying a photo or doing a study of someone else's work. And there was the feeling of, oh man, if I don't get this exactly, then I did it wrong. But with this kind of painting, there's no wrong. There's only what's pleasing to your eye. And chances are, if it's pleasing to your eye, it'll be pleasing to somebody else's too. And some people won't like it. Some people don't like abstract art because, you know, they need to know, what is that? What is it? And I can't tell you what this is. I don't like that. I'm going to do something different. Hold on. I don't like the way this is turning out. Let's switch gears here. I have an idea. Famous last words. Okay, let's see, what color was that? I think that was bright blue there that I just covered up here. Dry, dry, dry. Yeah, I don't like the way that looks. So I'm gonna go back in with a darker blue than Blue Flash. Cover that up. Oh, it's still wet, really? All right, let me work this out. I'll be right back. What I decided to do was go back in with this color that I applied thickly, and all right, and cover up the Blue Flash, the lighter blue that I had just put on there. Okay, all right, I'm cool with that. So we're back where we started a minute ago, and I'm going to do a little Pontilism. Now, if you know what Pontilism is, run to the comment section right now before I tell you what it is, and write the answer right now. Don't cheat. I'm giving you time. Write the comment. What is Pontilism? Pontilism is basically painting by using dots. There's a famous painting that most people think of when they think Pontilism, and it's done all with dots. If you stand back from it, you don't know that it is, but when you get up close, you're like, these are all just different colored dots. Pontilism, as in the word point. I've also seen a lot of Australian art, Australian dot paintings. And over the last few years, dot paintings on rocks have been big. You may have seen that. It's all over Pinterest, all over like any craft website if you go to one. It just adds a little something. And what you can also do is, once you put a dot somewhere, once you let it dry, you can put another dot on top of it, and it's like two colors in one. It just makes it a little more interesting. And this shade, Blue Flash, is a metallic blue. Different dots of different sizes. A lot of times people will say that they can't paint or they have no artistic abilities. I had somebody tell me that in the comments last week. I'm not gonna call you out, sis. What I usually say when somebody tells me that is to do an abstract and paint what is pleasing to your eye. Because honestly, if you like it, somebody else is going to like it. And even if somebody else doesn't like it, who cares? If you like it, put it on your wall. You don't want to look at it. But there's no wrong if you're doing abstract art. I mean, when you go to the museum, look at some of the stuff in the museum. Some of that stuff, I'm like, okay, this is in a museum, and I have no idea what I'm looking at right now. I don't see the artistry in it necessarily, but hey, if they like it, I love it for them. Last time I went to the museum, I saw a display with like 6 vacuum cleaners in it. Like just regular old vacuum cleaners. The big ones with the bag on the back. And I'm like, okay, those are vacuum cleaners. Like where's the art in this? But apparently it was a commentary on, you know how archaeologists dig up tools that cavemen and, you know, primitive societies used to use, hand tools and pottery and stuff like that. Well, this was basically saying that in the future, societies are going to be digging up the stuff we use now, like vacuum cleaners and TVs and whatever, and they'll be like, oh, look at what these primitive people used to use. So that was the commentary. So there's something for everybody. I'm just going to keep putting dots on here, and then I'm going to sign it, and then I'm done. And after you watch this video, go on over to my mother's channel. She's MzBrazell, and we have done this painting collab for you all because last week's painting collab was well received, plus we had fun doing it. We may do another one, but next time we're going to use more than one color. This didn't turn out to be as difficult as I thought it was. I was overthinking it, and thinking about it was giving me the blues. But sometimes ain't nothing to it but to do it. Just get started and make it do what it do. Ooh. I want to sign it. Here, I want to sign it like this. I can sign it in the corner. It's still very wet, so I don't want to mess it up. I'm going to sign it in the corner where it's barely there and doesn't disturb the look of the painting. So, in. Okay. The trick for me is to get the paint kind of wet, but not so much that it drips, but just so that it's sort of fluid. And then use a little brush with a fine tip. So we go NJB. Let me tap the screen maybe. Yep, there it is. You see in the corner, NJB? Okay. And I'll put the year here on this corner over here. 22. And the reason why I paint the edges of wrapped canvases like this is canvas wrapped around a wooden frame, and then it's stapled. It does not have to be framed, and it looks better if you've painted the sides, so it's not just white sides. She done. There is one more thing I want to go back and do, but I don't know if it's against the rules or not. I want to go back in. I do have a glitter marker. I don't know if I'm allowed to do that though. Well, you know what? It's easier to ask forgiveness than to ask permission. It's a blue glitter pen. Just add a little shiny shine up in here and there. This is what happens. You just keep on messing with it until you screw it up. And I have done that many times, or created more work for myself to fix. I've got to hold my breath because it's a tight little area here I'm working in. Oop. Okay. Yeah, I like that. Just add a little shimmer. All right. The only thing that's left is for me to take the photo. Stay tuned. Here it comes.